Welcome to part 3 of Game Club, in which Jose has no legitimate opinions to express. We're going to start part 3. Well, we're not going to start. Part 3 is all about the news of the week, and also we're going to get some new things at the end, but mostly news. And what we're going to begin with is Sony bans a gamer for sharing full frontal nudity from Watch Dogs 2 images. Now, at first you're like, okay, of course Sony should ban somebody because it's probably against the TOS rules that full frontal nudity. But here's what really happened.
Wait, before we go on, how long did it get banned for? Do you remember?
He was suspended for 1 week.
Okay, all right.
Last time I heard, I don't know if it got bigger than that, but last I read it was 1 week.
The story is still developing. Stay tuned.
But here's the reality. So some gamer playing Watch Dogs 2 did what many people do when they're playing a GTA style game, which is he beat up just a random NPC on the street.
I know what you're talking about.
A female.
I've never done that.
And she was wearing a dress, and what he noticed when she found the ground is her. She basically had crotchless panties. She has panties on, but they're crotchless, and you could see all of the female genitalia.
Yeah.
And it's not like some people at first, like when the first story first broke out, some people are like, oh, it's probably just the seam. So when you create character models, there's seams on where things connect. And between the legs, there's always a seam. This is not a seam.
No.
This is a fully
So somebody at Ubisoft is in trouble.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's fully designed with...
we don't need
It's got everything.
Yeah.
It's got all the parts, all the things you'd expect. Go on Reddit if you have questions about what that looks like.
He must have been a Trump supporter.
So he took a photo of that, shared it on Twitter through the PlayStation 4 system. But here's what happens when you take photos and you share them with your friends, even if it's through what is seemingly private, like through Twitter or whatever.
Yeah,
it can get
Big
added.
Brother is watching.
Well, what it does is they add it. If you ever go to a video game page on your PS4, you'll notice that player content starts populating it, like various pictures that have been taken and videos of people have shared.
Yeah. And
anything you take, if you do it through the PS4 system, it can populate into that.
Yeah.
So that's why Sony is bothered because those pictures, even though it's to Twitter his friends, it populates into the Watch Dogs 2.
Got it.
But
so
here's
other
the thing.
people that don't even have the game can see this image then.
But the problem here, here's what my argument would be. The gentleman is more sensitive, patient than I am, but this is in-game content.
Yeah.
If he had taken photos of him bashing the heads open of NPCs, they would have been like, yep, that's Watch Dogs 2. It's an open-world game. Oh, but there's a game with a vagina in it, and yes, you can play it on the PS4, and it's fully licensed for the PS4.
Yeah, I think they punished the wrong person here.
Yeah, they should be yelling at Ubisoft. They probably are.
Yeah. I think it's unfair for the player because, he was taking an image of the in-game content, and he was just kind of sharing it with his friends, it seems like. And, I think PlayStation kind of messed up on that, dropped the ball on that. And
it should also be
maybe
noted,
deleted the image and then that's it, but yeah.
Yeah, it should also be noted that there's penises in the game, not just vaginas.
Wow. All right.
And
why should that be noted?
Well, because because it shows that this isn't like a gender specific artistic thing happening. It's not like women are being exploited in a way that men aren't.
Yeah.
If it's exploitation, it's of both genders.
Yeah. And so somebody maybe might have been mischievous and within Ubisoft.
So definitely don't pick this up for your kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's already M-rated, first of all. But somebody, I was listening to a podcast, I believe, actually I can't remember what podcast it was, but they came up with an interesting point. Sometimes NPC models are not made in-house, they purchase them. And it could be that they purchase these assets as fully rendered, and maybe whatever company made these, they made them anatomically correct, and it's up to the game company.
So it could be an honest mistake.
Yeah, that could be that. The onus was on Ubisoft to get rid of the genitalia if they wanted to, and maybe something happened. You never know what's going to happen. That's a possibility. It's not confirmed. Ubisoft, of course, is not going to explain exactly what happened.
Yeah.
All they've said is they're going to patch it out, and this is where the story develops a little more. So they put out a patch to get rid of the nudity, but they only got rid of the female genitalia. There's still male penises in the game because nobody cares about a dongle.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there you have it.
What do you think? Ubisoft.
Since we're on the topic, what do you think about like full nudity in M-rated games?
If it plays a part in the story and the storytelling, and it's done
it's part of the
tactfully,
Mass Effect romance.
that or The Witcher, right?
Right.
I think that if it's done in that way, I don't have a problem with it. But if it's there just to be there, I think it's untasteful, I guess. I think I have a problem with it.
It's like same standards for movies.
Exactly, yeah. Pretty much the same thing, I think.
My own perspective is I don't care what's in games. And if, I think if games are going to be taken seriously as a medium of storytelling, then they can't be afraid to do everything. Now, of course, we have a rating system to make people aware of what's going to be in games. And probably if you're going to go to a certain level of content, it needs to become adults only. The problem with adults, the reason why we don't have many adults only games is because companies like Walmart refuse to carry them. So if you make a game AO, you're not going to sell it that well. There's not many companies that are going to sell. Maybe with the rise of digital sales, that might change. There might be more AO games because of digital sales. But for now, M-rated is kind of this glass ceiling that nobody can get past if they want to sell their game in the millions.
Yeah.
Which everybody does, right?
But if they do AO and they do that kind of stuff, and I mean, wouldn't that kind of like perpetuate the same stereotype of gamers living in their basement and kind of getting their jollies off of a
What's funny is every
character?
time I say AO, I have to watch myself not to say anal. I almost say anal every time I try to say AO.
Well,
Chris, what do you think?
I think it's like movies. Like I'm happy with the same standard.
Yeah.
I'm not real big on censorship, but I'm glad there's a rating system to let people know what to expect.
Yeah, ratings are fine.
Yeah.
The problem with ratings is what we kind of just talked about is that just as a form of warning people, totally fine. But that also the unintended consequence is people reacting to those ratings, right? Walmart saying we refuse to do AO.
Yeah, but I mean, I
won't
don't
sell
blame them.
AO.
There's a lot of adult-oriented stuff Walmart doesn't choose to sell.
Yeah, and I'm not even necessarily blaming Walmart specifically or but what it means is you're not going to get that game that explores human sexuality to the level that some movies can, because games need to sell in the millions and they need to sell mostly in brick and mortar stores until digital sales become so strong that they can support large, AAA releases.
Yeah, but I mean, M is already pretty close to R in terms of the standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I mean, like I wouldn't mind a game that I'm not talking about a sex game. I'm not talking about a pornographic game, but a game that is completely free to explore sexuality as a theme, right? We're talking about like, can games be more than just killing people? What about a game in which it's about sexuality and exploring the sexual conscience and
doesn't The Witcher 3 kind of do that a little bit? I mean,
not really. I mean, there's some sexual content in it, but that's not.
I'm sure
that's
somebody's
not
working on
baked
something
into the
like
video
that.
game. That's not baked into the story.
But I mean, why would you play a game like that? I mean, to me,
There's
I've
probably an indie developer
I've read
making
a lot
something
of
like that.
excellent books that explore sexual conscience.
Yeah, but
and they're
those
not
are
smut.
books and movies, but video games, I don't want to go in there.
But why would I want my video games to be limited compared to any other medium? Like there's a comic book called Sex Criminals, and sex is an intricate part of the story because essentially, this is only spoiling the first comic in this whole series. Two characters find out that when they have an orgasm, they freeze time, and they freeze time. I'm not sure for how long.
That's funny.
And so this whole baked into the story is this whole thing about how they can use sex to help them rob banks and do crimes.
Okay.
Right, but sex is like a really important part of the storytelling.
It doesn't sound like an important part. It sounds like an excuse to put sex in your story.
No, because it's not done pornographically. They're not. It's not like you have these long drawn out like sex panels and then there's just like a bank robbery at the end. But there is, without wanting
Like
to spoil
Parappa the
anything.
Rapper?
I mean, read it. It's an award winning comic series taken very seriously by a lot of authors. It's a really excellent story. But you couldn't tell the story they tell without exploring sexuality, because there is an excuse here to explore sexuality in a creative way. And I think that's fine. I think it's a great comic book. I would love for video games not just to be sexual, but to be uninhibited, to explore anything, including sex, including religion. I'd like religion to be explored more in video games, but it's not. It's a touchy subject.
I think that it's moving in that direction anyways,
Well,
especially with indie developers. I think there is that freedom there, especially with the digital market. You know, you don't have to worry about like Walmart or restrictions in other places. So I think that maybe it is going in that direction, so we'll see how it goes. But
like using religion as an example here, there was a game, I can't remember the name of the game, it never came out, but it was going to use Hindu gods as part of its, I guess you'd be fighting them, right? They'd be like boss, like kind of like hero characters. It'd be like a Dota style game.
Okay.
And there was going to be Hindu gods in it. And it either got heavily changed or just taken, like just the whole idea got shut down because there was uproar about Hindu gods being in the game. I don't know why. I mean, if you don't want to buy a game, don't buy it. But I don't know why we should get games shut down because I'm offended at some content in it. And we do that a lot with video games. The only mature thing allowed in video games, swearing and gore. And those are the two basest of mature content. Yeah. Like the other areas of maturity are far more richer, and yet we can't touch those things. And it just seems backwards and silly to me. Why should we be so free about violence and so free about swearing, and yet be so sensitive to the more complicated human issues like sexuality, like religion, like all kinds of things that belong in a mature game? But we won't touch them, not really touch them, because of whatever sensitivity we have. Well, we'll move on. One more news story from the Ubisoft camp. They claim to be moving away from heavily scripted games.
That's not a good thing, I guess.
You don't like that?
No, not me. I like good story-driven games, for me at least. Or at least if there's enough content where there's enough backstory where I can pick it up, then that would be great. But yeah, I'd rather not go out looking for it. I'd rather just get told it.
Yeah, yeah. So. They're saying that they're saying their stories will always have, their games will always have some story, but they want the games to be more like player is free to play as the player wants. So like imagine like
and stuff like that.
Well, like in Minecraft, you're not told what to do; you just do. Or in GTA Online, you mostly do what you want to do. So the idea is there will be some story, but they just want player freedom. You're given enough information to know what the world is about and what you're about, and now you go and you do. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. Yeah. What they were describing. I don't know. That is something I don't like, because I like well-written stories in my games. So, I want Mass Effect, right? I want more stuff like that.
I don't want Minecraft. I just can't get into that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad for me.
You had a news story for us. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, the head of 349 Studio or 343 Studios.
349 Studio.
Josh Holmes leaves the company, or left the company, and he left because he wants to pursue an independent career. So he wants to publish his own or develop his own games independently. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think it's pretty cool. So he left 343. He was kind of a part of the Halo 4 and Halo 5 as well, like the directing of it. So I think it's kind of a loss, I guess, for 343. But at the same time, you know, as a Halo fan, I'm kind of excited as well, because maybe we can get someone in that might bring that.
The 343 Halos have a lot of polish, but not a lot of soul.
Yeah, they don't play like the regular Halo, the first three original Halos, right? They played more like a Call of Duty, I feel like, where, you know, it just didn't feel like a Space Marine kind of shooter. It felt more like a
Twitch shooter?
Kind of like a Call of Duty, but in space. You know what I mean? It just felt
Which
off.
Is Call of Duty now.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a little bit off for me, like off-putting in that sense, because for me, when I always played the first three Halos, it always felt like, you know, I am in a different world. I am fighting, and it does feel like I am the Space Marine kind of guy, right? And the Master Chief in other words. And I always got that sense that, hey, you know, I really am somewhere different. But with or a different game at least. And then with 343, Halo 4 and 5, it always felt more like, well, it just kind of like feels like Call of Duty, but in a different skin kind of thing. So, yeah, so I mean, good for him that he left, and, hopefully he can do great things, and maybe we can check out his games. But at the same time, I'm excited that, maybe they'll bring someone in that can kind of revive that old Halo feeling.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's also late to the party with the whole let's move on to indies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the indie space, the big indies are now established, and those are going to be the big indie companies. And anybody who's starting up now are just going to be bottom feeders who go nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the old head of Lionhead, what was his name? The guy who made Fable. French name, I believe.
I don't know the name though, but yeah, I know.
He started 22 Cans, with basically an indie studio, and Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux started 22. He left Lionhead, started 22 Cans, but you know what has 22 Cans done? Nothing of significance. They made that dumb chipping away at a cube game where there was supposed to be some grand prize in the center for the guy that finds the center first, and turns out to be, I hear that guy didn't even get his full prize or anything like that. It was just a big dump.
Wow.
So I don't know. I feel like the allure of the indie space is making really smart, great game developers make bad decisions, like leaving to go to the indie space but towards no prospects.
Yeah.
Like a good example here would be like Kojima leaving Konami. We don't know the full story of that, but he didn't just leave to become an indie developer. He got in bed with a publisher again. He started a new studio that has publisher background, which is Sony in this case.
Yeah.
That was a smart move, and I wouldn't mind seeing that more. But just thinking, I'm going to jump into the indie space and make small indie games, and it's going to be great. Those stories are no longer coming true. We're not seeing those great stories come true anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, we were talking about sexuality in games. There is one game I got to give a shout out to that explored sexuality quite well. Is the game Catherine. Did you ever play Catherine?
No, I didn't.
It was on PS3 and Xbox 360.
Okay.
Awesome game that explores sexual guilt.
Okay.
And it's an awesome game. The main character, you're a fiance. You have a fiance, and then you cheat on her with another girl in a moment of weakness, and then it creates this game where the gameplay is exploring your sexual guilt over what you've done in a puzzle space. And all the imagery is all of his guilt and all of his pressure and everything he's worried about and all of his anxieties. And then in between the gameplay moments, you have to make decisions about what you're going to do next. And the story branches into 100 different directions. I mean, I don't know if it's really 100, but there's many, many, many endings based on the decisions you make.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Moving on with the news.
Do a flip. That's what I said.
Well, I just wanted to add, maybe that's a good conversation for another time, like all these head of development teams, I guess, kind of leaving. I mean, there is, Chris Metzen that recently left Blizzard.
Let's do that next time. That'll be our topic of the week.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Make us a list.
Okay.
And if it doesn't turn out like a good video, it's because he messed it up. So, next piece of news. Telltale series, the Telltale series, they've put out a release date for episode 4, so look out for it. It's November 22nd. By the way, that's how Telltale always does it. They're like, announcement for the next episode, and it's now. Right? So on the 22nd, which is just a few days from now, by the time this releases, it might be this very
Tuesday,
day. Look out for Batman, the Telltale series. And I haven't played it. I love Telltale games, but I just haven't had time to get around to this one. I hope it's good because I've been buying them and not playing them.
Yeah, I definitely want to play this game. I don't know. It looks good. So
all right.
We'll see.
And speaking of Telltale, Chris, you can switch our background because there is rumor going around based on interesting evidence that the secret Marvel Telltale game is going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Huh.
And the evidence for this, I'm getting the report from IGN, but IGN didn't break this news. They just got it from somewhere else. But I'm using IGN, so I'll give them a shout out. Is that a company called O'Farrell Enterprises LLC? They're in a list of they're in a list of companies, smaller companies. Oh, that's what it was. You know how we had the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
for voice actors, and they're on strike.
Yes.
Well, they put out a list of games that game companies that it would affect and their games, and this one company, the O'Farrell Games or Enterprises, was on their list, and together on this list was O'Farrell Enterprises LLC Walking Dead Season 3. So obviously they're doing something for Telltale.
Yeah.
As far as voice acting goes.
Yeah.
And then next to it on the same list was the same company, Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game.
Interesting.
Which makes it seem like they're probably in business with Telltale, and the other Telltale game they're working on sounds like it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, because there isn't a Guardians of the Galaxy game announced for any company, except we know Telltale does have a secret Marvel game, and this list is appearing right next to another Telltale game.
So the cat's out of the bag now?
Cat's out of the bag. It's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy game, most likely, which I think
Yeah.
is a good idea. I have a feeling that it's probably... Telltale seems to have two teams, maybe even more, but there's definitely seems to be two teams. The team that does a lot of the Walking Dead games,
Yeah.
and then the team that does the not Walking Dead games. And so their last one would have been the Borderlands game, the Telltale series, Borderlands.
Yeah.
And that was funny. I didn't like it as much as some other people did, but I liked it fine.
Yeah.
And I could see how the comedy in that game would fit Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be that. I really wish... I used to... The graphics engine for Telltale games used to not bother me, but now it's starting to really annoy me. It's just so janky. It drops frames. Sometimes the characters come off like robots. They need
Nice
to really
impersonation,
fix
by
it.
the way.
Yeah, they need to fix it. They need to fix it.
Or updated, at least.
Yeah. When's the last Telltale game you played?
The last one I played was Walking Dead. And that is it.
Just season 1?
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
No.
Oh my
I just
gosh!
can't get into it.
Everybody, just judge this person.
I'm not a big fan of that gameplay.
There's
You
two of
messed
us.
up. You
Thank
messed
you.
up.
Game play.
Yeah.
You both messed up.
Oh, push a button really fast right now.
You need to at least finish that series. It's so good.
Just make it a comic book.
Yeah, do something else with it. Yeah, it's not my type of game.
I hate you guys. Surrounded by cretins. All right.
Console gamers. That's what it is.
You're a console gamer. The
Yeah.
PC Master Race guy is behind the camera. It ain't you.
And I don't like it either.
Thank you.
Okay, so done with the news. I thought we'd do a thing before we talked about sales.
Sure.
I don't know if we'll do this every week or just sometimes, but I want to talk about video game fan theories every once in a while.
Okay.
I want to make sure it's a fan theory on a game most of us have at least played. And so the first one I picked for this week is a fan theory on the game Limbo. So we all played Limbo. You're a little boy in a monochromatic world, running
Dark
from
world.
left to right, having to solve puzzles, sometimes avoid a spider, sometimes other evil little kids.
Yeah.
Dying terribly many times until you get to the ending, and then there's kind of a twist at the end, which we won't spoil. Well,
Okay.
actually, it's totally spoiler alert, because we have to actually ruin some of it to go over this fan theory. So on Reddit, there's a fan theory subreddit, and this fan theory about Limbo was put up. And the title of the subreddit is, "The boy is the antagonist of Limbo and tortures both himself and the game's inhabitants." And this was put up by Forge the Soul, but Soul is S-O-L. So, as we all know, Limbo has a very ambiguous story. They don't ever really tell you what the story is. You kind of have to just sort of figure it out for yourself.
Make one up for yourself.
Right? And
Inside.
And for part of this fan theory, he says, judging by the menu background, the tree house with 2 graves surrounded by flies, both the boy and the girl are dead. Both children ended up in limbo, but being so young, they struggle to understand the concept of death. Not old enough to truly have developed empathy, basing this off of Kohlberg and Piegett's general idea of the stages of development, the boy takes out his frustration on the others trapped in limbo. Notice how the other children are older than him and only attack from a distance before running away. They are afraid of the boy. The boy does feel some guilt about lashing out, as children do, and punishes himself by walking through the dangers of limbo. He never truly dies because one cannot die in limbo, where the game takes place. He allows the parasites to infect him, reasoning that he is too responsible with his own actions, but ultimately overcomes their control anyway, his instincts of self-preservation kicking in. Continuing on, talking about the girl. The boy and the girl died together, but the girl does not blame herself as the boy does and tries on several occasions to recall him to reason. However, after seeing that he continues his destructive behavior, she leaves again for her own safety. The boy knows deep down that he is a danger to her, and so prevents himself from reaching her in the end, hence the glass. The glass is his fragile control over his own psyche. And he continues on to talk about other elements, but basically just pointing out how it's the boy that's always destroying everything, possibly taking his anger out in everything he comes across, including the spider. I mean, the spider seems malevolent, but if you pay attention, other than to memory, the spider maybe impaling you, usually what the spider does is capture you and wrap you up, and you don't ever actually see yourself getting killed by the spider, just wrapped up.
Okay.
And so the spider isn't malevolent, but a controlling factor. But you, the boy, kill the spider piece by piece until at the if you played the game, you know all the gross things you do with the spider. So what do you think about this? Because I mean, the idea that the boy was in limbo, I think most people, based on the title and based on sort of the loopity-loopness of the game, thought that, but I never considered that he's actually the antagonist. Yeah, that he's the evil.
That's
in this
a good
world.
Twist on it. Yeah, that sounds good.
Especially like with the other children being afraid of him, his own sister running away from him. He's always chasing after her. Maybe she's afraid of him. Maybe he's not the victim. He's the evil. Yeah. I even thought about maybe he killed her or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think? Maybe about the afterlife or before they died, right?
Right.
Maybe he did something to her, and they both ended up dying because of it. Maybe,
yeah.
Oh, dang,
that's awesome. Fan theories. Chris, what do you think?
Jeez,
sounds good.
Sounds good.
And that's all we get from Chris.
I wanted to do the Mass Effect fan theory, but we have to wait for Jose to beat it.
Oh man,
the whole trilogy.
Might as well just.
There's a huge fan theory. No, you need to beat that series.
The fan theory is that they changed writers and couldn't figure out where to go.
Yes.
Don't ruin anything.
Except change the colors, apparently.
You need to just play the game and find out.
All right, I'll do that. Yeah, it's a great game theory. I like it.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I mean, again, since the game makers won't say anything about it, but we can't ever know for sure. But I think that's a really solid idea.
I'm interested now to see what kind of theories are there for Inside.
Inside,
yeah, that's gonna be good. And
Inside had way better game mechanics, but not as interesting as the story that they use as a carrot for you was not nearly as interesting as Limbo's carrot.
Okay.
Right? No, that's my opinion. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, let's finish with the releases coming out soon. There's not a whole lot. We're kind of in the time of the year when most of the stuff has come out, and we're just waiting for Q1 of the next year. But still, Darksiders War Mastered Edition is coming out on November 22nd. That's this Tuesday, or when this game this video releases, most likely.
And that's PS4, right?
Yeah, this is for the PS4. Samurai Showdown 6. Holy crap! I know there was a 5 is coming out.
Surprise!
Final Fantasy 15 comes out next week.
Oh, I know.
So
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited to find out whether people are going to love it or just hate it.
They're gonna hate it.
There's gonna be no middle on this one.
They're gonna hate it.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, and The Last Guardian comes out in early December, and that's another one I think will just collectively disappoint the entire world. I can't wait. I cannot wait for that.
The Last Guardian?
Yeah, that's that game that's been in development for over a decade.
Yeah.
For the PlayStation. It was supposed to be on the PlayStation
3.
It was being developed in the PS2 era. It was supposed to come out in the PS3. Never did. It was finally coming out in the PS4.
Good luck, PS4 owners.
Yeah, good luck. Xbox.
Xbox One, Darksiders, War Mastered Edition, same one on the 22nd. On the 28th, we got Stern Pinball Arcade. That sounds fun. And then A King's Tale, Final Fantasy 15, and then Final Fantasy 15 coming out on the same date, which is the 29th. Also on that day, The Crew. There's 2 editions, Ultimate Edition and then Calling All Units. Kind of title. I don't know what that means.
Maybe these are just DLC packs.
Yeah, and then 3DS, I just want to add for next week. They're
Nobody cares.
Dropping Dragon Ball Fusions. That
Told you.
Pretty interesting.
Told you.
Pokemon Sun and Moon came out last week. Woo! The end.
Anything for PC, Chris?
Space Trucker, November 23rd.
Whoa!
Yes.
And
you can trade
Watch Dogs 2, November 29th for PC.
Hey, it's probably going to be a hot mess. It's a Ubisoft game, right?
They do so well on PC, right?
Yeah, good.
they have a great track record, right?
Yeah, they're the opposite of Bethesda in that case. All right.
Wait, deals.
Oh, even more.
Deals.
Oh,
for the week.
Because Black Friday is upon us.
It is.
The most awful day of the year when Americans use
if you work in a retail
consumerism
market.
to be violent. And yeah.
If you work in a retail market, yeah, it's probably the worst day
That's
of
so
the
bad.
year. Yeah. But anyways, the deals that I came up with are just GameStop. So, just make sure you guys check out the deals that you guys might be having in your local stores or areas or wherever you shop at, okay?
It's very nice of you, Grandpa.
No problem. $9.99, The Last of Us and Ratchet & Clank for the PS4, which is pretty cool, I think. Also, there's a PS4 deal for $250. You can get either The Last of Us or Ratchet & Clank, one of the other games, right? So you can choose
Last
that.
of Us, that's the one you want.
Xbox Live membership, 3 months is going to be going on sale for $14.99. 6 months
For a
for
year?
$29.99.
Oh.
Yeah, 6 months and 3 months.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That's not a deal.
Well, you can buy
Because
two.
3 months times 4 is $60 then. And that's how much a year long.
Exactly.
So it's not a deal at all.
But it's on sale right now.
I guess
so.
it's because they usually charge you more for 3 months or 6 months.
Yeah.
They usually charge like 20 something for 3 months. Because
Probably.
you get a better deal the more months you buy it once.
Exactly.
Right.
Can
Yeah.
I just buy a lifetime membership?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. It should
No,
be like I'll just pay
there isn't.
$1,000 and have it for life.
And then here are some games that are going to be on sale for $39.99.
Okay.
Battlefield 1, BioShock The Collection, Mafia 3, Titanfall 2, and this is on GameStop. $34.99 games.
I need you guys to help me with something.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your choices.
No.
Dishonored 2,
Uh-huh.
Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and we'll just throw in Call of Duty, although...
How about I just loan you my copy of Dishonored?
No. Which one of those 4? I'm not saying I'm only going to buy one, but which one do I buy first? And the other one's going to back
That's
burner.
a long conversation, and we're 32 minutes in.
Just give me a vote. We'll talk about... Okay, we can talk about it another time.
Battlefield 1.
That's
that
your
would be
vote?
my vote, yeah.
Chris?
I'm getting the most legs out of Titanfall 2.
Okay.
But I
But-
like shooters.
Hold on.
I like
Hold that
online
thought.
shooters.
Hold that thought.
Okay, $34.99. You got Overwatch Origins Edition, GTA 5, and then Destiny the Collection. I would say Overwatch. If you were gonna spend money on a shooter, Overwatch for sure.
Okay.
Okay, it's more friendlier for starting players that are going into the FPS market.
Yeah.
$29.99 XCOM 2. Yes. $19.99 for Doom, Dying Light, The Following, and then Fallout 4, Rainbow Six Siege, Mortal Kombat XL.
I'm so impressed that you did all this research for us.
It's only one website, GameStop.com. And then finally, $14.99 for Batman, the Telltale series.
Yeah, that's a good deal. If you
So-
like Telltale games, $14.99 to get the whole season.
Yeah.
That's a totally slick deal.
So those are the deals that I came up with from GameStop.com.
Well, listen, if you're still watching and you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And find in the description all of our Twitch and Twitter handles. And we'd love to see you on Facebook. We'd love to get an email from you at fndwgameclub
Please.
@gmail.com. Requests for us to talk about games or news or topics, or just to give us some suggestions. Anything is great. Also, comment in our videos. We'd love to read comments. Even if they're criticisms, we could go to learn some things. So
We can work it out.
yeah, we'll work it out. If you want kisses from any of us, just
James,
make
just
a
James.
request. Okay. So have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.